I thought I figured out who our listener in France was.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I was watching Azpilicueta's desperate reach across Carrasco.
Mm.
Now, because I'm not the naked eye here. I have an intelligent, educated eye on this thing. I saw the telltale signs of a dive, which we talked about in our last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Both hands up in the air, knees buckle forward,
the dive,
and then
the diving motion,
and then hips thrust to the ground like you've been drop kicked in the back.
Yeah,
and I thought, but I know this isn't a foul, but this is going to be given. Cuts to the referee who waves it off as a clear and obvious dive. I was like, how did he know? How did a Champions League referee know the rules as good as I did?
I think I know where you're getting at here.
Yeah, so I quickly Googled, where the referee's from, and Daniele Orseteo, from my perfect accent, you will know, is an Italian man, as was the entire refereeing team of the night. So the search continues, unless he has a very long commute to Italian league games, but I don't think it's him.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?
Hello and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cahill and Will. We're back again, day after St. Paddy's Day here, Thursday. How are you, Will? How was your Paddy's Day?
All good. It was the same as every other day since last Paddy's Day. Nothing happened.
Blind drunk, 11 o'clock?
Yeah. In a state of nothingness.
Yeah, I did. It was one of those Paddy's Day now in the past. I would have been struggling big time because it was nice and sunny. So you would have been in the pub early.
Oh, yeah.
In the pub, like literally like 11, way too early. You go all day and then people are like, right, we'll go out again. And before, I used to think, how do people do this? You've been out as long as I have and you're still flying at 2 a.m. and I'd be absolutely dying. Then, of course, in later years, I realized they're using performance-enhancing drugs to keep them going all those hours. I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, a nice Paddy's Day, to be fair. I will say I had gotten out of the habit of drinking during the week/day, which I got into a bad habit of during the summer.
Oh, I'm the same.
Drink a few, 1 or 2 during the day, and I would stay up late watching NBA all night, drinking, eating shit. So I kind of got it down to a nice little weekend routine, a few beers a weekend. That was kind of it. I'm now drinking yesterday. I drank Tuesday evening because I had Paddy's Day off, and then Paddy's Day, and now I'm drinking again tonight. And then before you know it's the weekend. So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, right?
But yeah, we had a few Champions League games this week. Always better with a little beer as well. But they were some good games this week. On Tuesday we had Real Madrid, Atalanta, and Man City versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then Wednesday night we had Bayern Lazio and Chelsea Atletico Madrid. The first game, which game did you watch on Tuesday?
I watched the Madrid game.
Yeah, same. I thought that'd be a better game. I was switching between the two, to be fair, and I think I turned it on to De Bruyne just beautifully just stroking the ball into the top corner, which made it 3-0 aggregate. I was like, all right, this game's fucking over. So back to Real Madrid. Atlanta had chances, to be fair to them. Playing in.
I thought Ramos he rolled back the ears again.
Yeah.
He's something else.
Yeah, because the Real Madrid team. It's funny because of the coronavirus, like you never see a Real Madrid team like this, where you have like Ramos, Modric, Benzema, Marcelo. Like in alternate universe where the coronavirus hasn't happened, they're all gone. There's a new Galacticos in right now. Like they've all been replaced, but we're in this scenario where they all have to keep rolling back the years every week to try and get these wins, and you wonder how long it can go on. Because Atlanta, like I said, they had chances, but they weren't good. They should have finished some of them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like games like that, like it wasn't the first leg the same pretty much of Atlanta just couldn't finish their dinner for some reason, even though that was what they were all about last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what went on in that game.
It was 1-0 the first leg, and you kind of think, oh, this is the kind of game now that is like crisis point for Real Madrid. They don't win the league. they go out to Atlanta, a way worse team on paper. They shouldn't be losing to them, and the older players over 30, like some Marcelo and that, like they're out of the club. But Atlanta made 2 mistakes. The goalie kicked it out. Modric with ridiculous touch, like that ball came flying at him. He had his leg like fucking I don't know what the word is. Like he had his leg sideways, caught that ball in the air, burst forward, perfect pass to Benzema, first time ball, one touch finish, unbelievable goal, really. And the other one was a penalty that they just stuck away. Ramos back on penalties. Love to see us.
That's always just good crack, isn't it? There's no need for him to be on penalties. Definitely put fucking Benzema or someone and score them anyway.
Yeah, that was, I think that was his 101st goal. So his second century of goals for Madrid. And then that, I just, for some reason, I love that celebration. What the hell was that?
The celebrations were something else in that game. The beard touching.
The beard. I was like, I literally was talking to me. Now, again, I was drunk, but I was like, me, he's talking about my beard.
I've grown a beard.
He was so like, you love it. Yeah. Keep going. That was me. He was talking to me.
What else could he possibly be talking about?
It could be anything else. Yeah, and then the last one where he had is like, hi. He's like, okay, Vasquez, come here, I'm going to do a celebration. And they just like improv, just like, okay, knee, handshake,
you put your hand
teacup.
here.
What? And
we really missed a trick not photoshopping the two of us doing it. We still might do that.
We might cut that there for later on. Yeah. That's a great one, yeah. But I was scouring the internet to see the explanation for that, what that meant, what kind of cryptic message to Barcelona that was. Nothing. No explanation. Just
the boys were just being weird.
Just this, hey, look, this is probably the last game we're going to win in Champions League. Let's just enjoy it. I'm on the penalty.
How about you put your arm under here, right? Turn a bit. Yeah, okay. Here we go.
Tea, sip the tea. Yeah, pinkies. There we go. Nailed this. Perfect.
One sec. I need to tell Carl about his beard.
Yeah. I've listened to this podcast called I Know Nonsense Podcast. They just bring something different to the game. Atlanta got one back, didn't they? They got the free kick. Did you see that one with the 3 lads running towards it? That was weird. Not sure why that worked.
It feels like every free kick in the Champions League, people are just trying stuff.
Just try that in the cup competition.
I'll try that in the biggest knockout competition there is. We'll try something new.
Yeah, no, it was good to see him. It was nice to have Real Madrid in it, to be honest, because I was like, it's good to have Atlanta and it kind of upsets at that, but it wasn't a good game. So if they had won that like 1-0 and then extra time, like, it wasn't a great game. If it had been like a really exciting game, that'd be one thing. But Real Madrid probably deserved the win in that one. Do you think they can go much further? Do you think it all depends on the draw? I mean, they could get Liverpool or Dortmund. I could see them beating them.
Yeah, but like we were saying, how many years can you roll back? It's eventually not going to work. Like Modric is going to surely be outran by someone soon, something like that. Yeah, no,
he looked good. That's the only thing. He looked fresh, he looked sharp. I don't know. You can never count them out because they are obviously this is their competition, as I love to remind everybody. But the biggest thing, I suppose, and I haven't seen him play well, but Hazard, if he could come back and make a difference, that could be what they need to get over the line.
But he's out injured again, like last week. It's the same injury, I think, every time. I think he's probably fucked, to be honest, because you're not going to have any faith in him when he does come back. Like,
yeah, I don't know why he, like, wasn't this the reports at Chelsea that he didn't like, Mourinho and Conte, he wanted to track back and all this kind of hard work.
Yeah.
Did he think that Real Madrid was going to be a chill time? Like, he was just going to, chill in Madrid at cafes? Like, surely there's more pressure at Real Madrid than Chelsea.
Didn't he turn up like to the first training session with Madrid and he was like way overweight and stuff? I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
He's never been Ronaldo in terms of being in shape. I mean, he was always kind of like, was he like 5'6", 5'7"?
Yeah, and he was always just more into having a bit of crack.
He's not one of these, stat padding merchants who like wants to score. Like, he used to have like a season on, season off at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And he was so good that like when he was worth having a season off and he could really just turn it on in games. But like, I don't know why he thought Real Madrid. That's the place where Gareth Bale wasn't good enough to succeed. Where he was constantly, where Ozil was kicked out of the club. You know,
Where
that's where I'm going to
Ronaldo
go.
would be whistled.
Yeah, well, he's the one who tries hard. I was thinking about other players who didn't try very hard but were talented. It's like, yeah, they did terribly there. I'm going to go there too. If you could bring in Hazard of 4 or 5 years ago, that might be enough. But currently, a good win for them, but I don't see them going much further than that. Yeah. The other game that night, Dane, was Man City, Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Well, the main thing from that is this actually going to finally be a year where City get to the final even?
Oh, well, they asked, some sly reporter asked poor, naive Zinchenko about the quadruple.
Oh, no.
And of course, Zinchenko thought the right answer would be, yeah, of course, why not? We want to win every competition. And then they asked Pep, by the way, Pep, we were talking to Zinchenko earlier on, and you know, he said about the quadruple, he said he could do it. He went, well, Mr. Zinchenko is a lot younger than me. He called him Mr. Zinchenko. I was like, oh, he's in trouble. He's in big trouble. So Pep not only downplayed, he said, no, this will not happen. Stop saying this will not happen. He knows the curse.
Every year. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the year where they do the thing that no one has ever done in English football. Easy.
For a club, like say, that's ever been to the final, yeah, we can win the whole thing. We can every competition. It's like, oh, no, it's never going to happen. But it was a bit of a procession for them against Gladbach. Again, they played Bernardo Silva up front because why not? Who needs a striker?
Yeah, they're mentally. Imagine if they do pull off signing Haaland, they'll never lose again.
Yeah, well, that's a team that I think might get the better of them. I think someone who can hit them on the counter, because Gladbach, again, they created like half chances that they couldn't really, capitalize on. I think you had some like Haaland and Sancho going down those wings. It might be a different story. And like this thing, like that was the Barcelona way was, total possession and then the 6-second rule, win the ball back. And Gladbach talked about that as well, that, their pressing was ridiculous. Like we couldn't get the ball for more than 2 seconds. They kept pressing, winning the ball back. But unlike peak Barcelona and basically any other team that Pep has managed, they give away chances. Because you try and hold the ball for the entire game, you're going to give a secondary lapse. And that's when someone like Haaland or Mbappe can just break and punish you.
Because every team is really good at pressing now, it seems like especially in the Champions League, you're not going to come up against really too many teams that don't know how to do that. Whereas back in Barcelona, we're just passing around, everyone was just running around screaming.
Yeah, it was unheard of. So just like hold the ball for the entire game.
I always think of a quote from Fergie's book, talking about one of the Champions League finals against them he lost.
Yeah.
And he said at half time, I think he was talking to Carrick or someone, and he was like, you have to do better. And he's like, boss, it's like playing on a merry-go-round.
I just got the image of like horses and clowns going towards him, like trying to dribble football, like, oh fuck.
The ball's just spinning around his head and he doesn't know where it's going.
That's a great quote. David Carrick, this isn't time for beautiful imagery. Get out there and press. Oh man. But I was watching Gladbach and they were kind of off the pace. And again, like Leipzig, like they always seem to be thereabouts. But I was like, how did they gotten this far? Who was in their group?
Inter, I think. I think because Inter came dead last, and then it was Kiev or one of the Dynamo teams, I think. Oh no, it was Shakhtar. And then
right.
Who was it? Madrid and Gladbach, I think. I think that was that group.
Well, I did see, to be fair, and I to give them some credit. Did you see Marco Rose? Did you hear about this?
No, don't think
so. The Gladbach manager, he's been announced as the Dortmund manager for next season.
Ooh.
So your boss is leaving at the end of the season.
Yeah, so
it'd be hard to kind of get up for that. And then you're also playing a team that's far better financed than you, much better players. Like, I know when I've been leaving work, they hand those 2 weeks notice. Very little gets done.
Yeah.
When your boss hands in his 2 weeks notice, when your manager hands in 2 weeks notice, forget about it. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Like, you're going to drop me? You're going to sell me to somewhere because you're gone? Like,
and not only that, it's your boss has handed in his notice, and right before he leaves, he goes, Carl, I have a totally impossible task for you to do.
Yeah, I got right on it, boss. Right on it.
I'll definitely be able for that.
But what's not funny, I suppose, but what's interesting is that they're on a 7-game losing streak since he announced that he was going to Dortmund.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, like just every just down. He's like, oh, right, early holidays. So been dying for a holiday. They drew 1, lost 7. The club record is 8 losses in a row. You don't want to be equaling club records. Like, you don't want to be sacked before your new job. You know what I mean? Like, he could be sacked.
That, yeah.
He could. I mean, he's seen out the rest of his contract. He's not signing a new contract, whatever, and he's going to Dortmund. But they could like sack him for. They have to be careful to be like, oh, we're sacking you now because you could get done, I suppose, in court for unfair dismissal by just sacking him out of pettiness. But like, if you lose a club record losing streak, that's grounds.
Yeah. Surely then coming into Dortmund, all the Dortmund players would be like, oh, fucking this guy, did you not just lose a job you couldn't lose?
It's a bad look. And like say, if he wants to have that with the players and that, like, do you really want to have a public falling out with players just before your new job? Again, if the new players like, this guy fucking likes to throw his picture on the bus, can't wait to play for him. You know? So if he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. But then I think, why do that? Why agree a job like in March? Where do I say like the last 2 weeks of season wait and say, oh yeah, in 2 weeks I'm going to Dortmund? Like it was 4 weeks ago he announced. So a month ago, so back in February he said, yeah, end of the season I'm gone. It's like that's like you can't hand in 3 months notice. Yeah, you get nothing done. But like still, I think, and you said last week Mencho was going to Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
from Leipzig. Same thing, already agreed. I was like, what is this? Is this a German football thing? Like, because I remember it was 2013, before the 2013 Champions League final. Like that infamous act, Götze announced the day before, 2 days before the final, he's going to Bayern. Like, what a psychological move that, like, oh yeah, you may have won the league from us, you may have won the cup from us, and you're in the Champions League final with us, but just so you know, your player, one of your best players, is coming with us because he thinks it's better for his career, because we're a bigger club.
Yeah.
You know, like, a terrible thing to announce, but again, if Dortmund don't announce it, someone Bayern leaks this. But why do these deals?
Don't talk to me. You're not allowed to talk to me until May.
Yeah.
Get away from all of our players and our manager. We'll deal with it in May.
Like, are Bayern just that big that they can do whatever the fuck they want?
It does seem like they just boss the league. Like, they just, all the best players win every game, win every competition. Surely it's the most one-sided big league, like.
Yeah, I think that they need to look at that stuff, like transfers before the end of the season and just announcing players, announcing managers while they still have the job. It's not a good formula for success. I mean, the German teams that aren't Bayern seem like the secondary bosses, like in a video game where like Bayern are the big boss and they're like the minions, like you're throwing them at you, like you'll beat them. If you're not careful, you might lose a life there.
Drop points to Wolfsburg, but.
But you should beat them, and then Bayern are the big boss, and all the best players will end up back there anyway. So, I was thinking about that for City as well. Like that was an easy enough game for them. The league is pretty wrapped up. A loss in the league might do them the world of good, you know.
Why?
Because I just remember the Pep Bayern teams where they won the league literally in March. And then they would just be having nothing games, like literally no dead rubbers in the league, and then they face Barcelona and just be totally fucking out of it.
Right, yeah.
Like if they have an easy game now, they had an easy game as Gladbach. They have more easy run of games in the league and have it wrapped
tough
up.
To get back on.
Yeah, to then like when was the last time they had a competitive game? They play. I don't know that the draw is on Friday, so they could play. I don't know if the sides of the draw, but like if they say play against Bayern, play against Chelsea or something like that, you haven't had a competitive game in weeks. You know, that's how they catch on the hop. So, yeah, I think to add a bit of importance to games for them, you know, that might be doing them world of good. But they did look good, to be fair.
Yeah, they always do though. Like,
yeah,
in the Champions League too, they always boss it for a while, and then. It's just the panic sets in at the next round, usually, is where they're like, oh, we've never done this before.
Yeah, they were the Tuesdays games. Then the next game, speaking of the German teams, Bayern v Lazio. 2-1 on the night, 6-1 in aggregate. Comprehensive win from the German big boss there. bully boy Bayern. That was another one that it was. Well, the first goal they got, like I said, they're 4-1 up going in, so it'd be a big ask for Lazio to come back and win this.
Yeah.
They got a horseshit call early on. Did you see that penalty? That it was like barely touching the box. They got, like the ones that you never see given. They gave him that. Robert Lewandoski steps up,
he
6 in the net.
Something else.
I honestly, I was just thinking about this, that he's so unlucky in that, like, he's been consistent scorer for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Which is years after Messi and Ronaldo started playing well.
Yeah.
He's still a consistent scorer, as Messi and Ronaldo are still consistent scorers. They might be dropping off a bit, but as he continues on, you'll have Haaland and Mbappe. So he's stuck in between the two possible eras there where people aren't going to remember him, except, I mean, look, you know, and I know, well, the streets will never forget.
The streets will never forget.
But unfortunately, you know, as they are the authority on these things, it mightn't be enough for Robert Lewandowski. He's so good.
He's something else, yeah. And I don't know, he's just unfortunate in that he seems like a pretty normal dude. So he's not the most, like, he's not like Messi or Ronaldo, who are like big marketing freaks. Like,
yeah,
he's never going to get that acclaim. Like,
well, he's just not as good. Like, I would say this, actually, to be fair, like Messi and Ronaldo, like, they don't fit into any kind of, like, they're kind of forward players, wide players.
You can put them anywhere,
do whatever the fuck they want, players. Score from anywhere. Like, whereas Lewandowski could play in the 1970 Brazil team, and he could play today, and every year in between. Like, he is the perfect number 9.
Yeah.
Like, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. Like, when he scores goals, like, he's so fluid, he's so athletic looking. Like, I think he's probably the best, like, out and out number 9 since probably Ronaldo Lima, I would say. In terms of the goals he scored, the different range of goals he can score, like, he can score headers, he can score long range, he can do solo goals, and the longevity. Like I say, he's been doing this for 10 years now. He did it with Dortmund.
You never really hear of an injury for Lewandowski either. It seems like he plays always, like, every Champions League game anyway. Oh,
like, he keeps himself in great nick. Like, he really looked after himself. Everything you could want from a player, he does it. And like I say, he does it for Bayern. They've been very dominant, but he did it for Dortmund before that too.
Yeah,
I remember him scoring 4 against Real Madrid for Dortmund in Champions League. And I was like, this guy's unbelievable. And he has a ridiculous record for Poland as well, which are definitely not Bayern Munich when it comes to internationals. Like, they're probably on our level. It's like, you know, think Robbie Keane scoring goals for Bayern Munich for 10 years, basically. Like, he's ridiculous. I don't think he gets enough credit, but
no, definitely.
Yeah, Bayern look really, really good. I think they're the obvious favourites for it because they have the experience under the reigning champs. Yeah. I think it's probably between them and City at the moment. What do you think?
It doesn't seem like their manager gets any credit either, same as Lewandowski. I'd say most people don't even know his name. Like, he's just gone so under the radar and he's bossing it. Like,
yeah, Flick, is it?
Flick, yeah.
I don't know the first name.
Me neither. When I said people, I meant me and you.
Yeah, I thought you were calling me out. I was like, I hope he doesn't know the name. Is he having a go at me on my own podcast? What the fuck? The fucking neck of this man. No, but I think you're right, because, like, all you said, I was desperately searching my names, like, who is the fucking Bayern manager? But it might be because, like, you know, they won with who was the manager before Pep? Remember another German thing, they announced Pep before the end of the season. Like, yeah, he's gone, Pep's coming in, so whatever, he's probably useless anyways. And then they won the treble. Yeah, and then they won everything there was to win, and they got, follow that Pep, you bald-headed prick.
They did.
I forget his name, but he won with them. Obviously, Pep won with them. Never won the Champions League, but he won the league and the cup and all that. There's been a few managers after that who've won. Like, Bayern are a kind of a constant, you know what I mean? In terms of, like, no player bigger than the club, like, Bayern really are that. Like, different players, different managers, they will win most of the time. Like, you have to be a really special manager to be one of the Bayern great managers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I think they because the thing is, well, like, before it was, no one's ever retained the Champions League, and then Real Madrid do it. And it's like, now doesn't seem like that crazy thing to do. So in years gone by, you said, no one retains it, so it'd be hard to see Bayern doing it 2 years in a row. But now I could definitely see them doing it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, definitely. Because it seems like everyone else has dropped off a bit, but they haven't at all. Like they're still smashing teams, and like with Liverpool the way they are, and like Chelsea, we'll get to Chelsea. I don't know what to make of them. Are they savage? Are they boring? What are they?
I don't know. The last game in Chelsea Atletico, 2-0 on the night, 3-0 in aggregates. Another one where I thought this is where the Tuchel honeymoon period will end. Yeah, the fraud will be shown.
They'll surely concede a goal now.
Yeah, surely this is the time where they'll get done. They were 1-0 up, going back the bridge. Of course, like none of these games really, like it's not going to Bayern Munich, it's not going to Barcelona, it's the empty stadiums. But they went back to a home game, 1-0 up, and Atletico came out looking really good. Felix looks savage. I know he obviously that's not news, but like he looked really, really good when he was on the ball.
Like who's at the back for Chelsea? Zuma and is it Rudiger?
Yeah, they
looked unreal, and like they've never looked unreal.
I think Rudiger was lucky though. That clear push on Suarez, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then the ref just kind of waved it on, and I've seen him in the league. Rudiger does not look comfortable on the ball. Like he is not a good, like in terms of like the ball playing centre back that people want now. Like that is not him.
Head the ball away, let someone else deal with it thing.
And so Zuma. So to have two of them at the back, it's like this could be trouble for them. But they really did a really good job.
Did you see the two of them? It might have been Suarez. I can't remember. I think Rudiger got in a bit of a tussle with someone.
At the end.
He was like chatting to him and like pushing him a bit, and then Zuma came and backed him up, and your man immediately ran away, seeing the two giant lads walking him down, both pointing at him.
Yeah, there was so many instances in that game. We should start. I think the first one was, I think the Suarez push was the first one, was it?
I think so. Yeah, I think that was first.
That was like I said, that was kind of borderline. You can tell early on how the ref was going to ref a game, and that was kind of the indication of this is going to be a physical game. He's going to let a lot go here. Another game would have been a penalty, but I think when you're isolated like that, and it's kind of a push, they never give us. Like if you're surrounded by players and you're kind of going past 1 or 2, and then you get a push at that, it seems more desperate. But yeah, I think Rudiger was lucky with that. And then there was the Azpilicueta one. What did you think of that?
No, I didn't think it was much of anything because he pulled him and the man fell forward. So that's easy.
Yeah. The classic dive telltale signs. It was the ball was played back by Azpilicueta. He had a moment of hesitation. He was like, "Oh fuck, have I underhit that ball?" And he just like instinctively stuck out an arm. Yeah. And then the play continued a little bit. He was like, "Oh no, it's grand," and he pulled his arm back. But it was just so fast.
Yeah.
I think it was Carrasco who went, "Oh, he's
touched me.
He's made a mistake here," and like dived over the arm. And people saying that was a penalty. Oh, he messed up there. But like the fact is, if he doesn't dive, he puts the arm across him and pulls it back. Like barely pulls him back. That's not a free. Like that's not a penalty because it's barely it's still a contact sport. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like it's the dive. And it's like it was such an over exaggerated dive. It was like, all right, he didn't touch that. Like we all saw what happened there. Like he didn't send you flying. So.
Like he would have had to do.
There was people saying it was a Stonewall penalty now, but I don't know.
I think he would have had to do the like skid dive, that one where you slide onto your arse and then hands up. That one would have worked better.
I think Azpilicueta would have had to lunge a bit more too.
Yeah.
Like he literally just stuck an arm across and then went, "Oh no, it's grand." Like if he'd like desperately lunged and then like looked back at the referee wide eyed, like, "Oh no, I swear." But he was like, "Oh no, it's grand. I just thought I messed up. Don't worry, I didn't."
No, don't mind
that. Then what was the other one? Then there was that one. The sending off Savage. That was funny. That was Rudiger just winding him up the entire. Because if you go, the replay is great. Like he's in his ear, he's like in front of him, and I think one point Savage like taps like, all right, man, give it a rest. I think Rudiger says something else to him and goes, "Oh fuck this."
He just went, "Elbow me." Like he was calling a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Close line.
I don't know. Maybe he speaks German. Savage does, or maybe Rudiger speaks Serbian, perhaps. I don't know, but
I would say most of those boys kind of speak a load of different things.
Well, he had some language anyway, some common language. He was definitely in his ear, winding him up, and Savage, he took the bait. I mean, at that point, the game had kind of gone from a little bit.
So.
It didn't look like they were going to score. Savage, like, oh my God, we're going to lose to these boys again.
Get out my ear.
Yeah, and he kind of snapped. But then, like, again, if you're going to snap,
hit him.
Go full Zidane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't
give a little snaky elbow.
Turn around, look at him in the eyes, take a step back, and then do a charging headbutt into his chest.
If you're going to snap. You know, you got sent off anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Like, an extra game ban, like, it doesn't matter. You're out of the competition.
Or even do the butt heads thing and then go down diving, and you might get something out of it. But don't.
Yeah, or fucking throttle him or something. You know what I mean? But this was like the ref had said, "Hey, I see you two. Cut it out."
Like two children.
And then he let play on again, and he was back in his ear. And snaky elbow. I was like, oh man, like you knew the ref was looking at you. What are you doing? Obviously, Rudiger goes down like a ton of breaks. Yeah. And that's, I think, afterwards, that's what the players are saying to him, saying like, you are not you have no honor. You have no honor, Rudiger. And then he was like, yeah, whatever. And then Zuma came in and said, hey, get out of here. But speaking of arrested, the great camera angle of Savage coming down the touchline and then all the way down the tunnel, just like wrestling, would they leave it on too long?
Like he had just won the title at WrestleMania and the show was going off the air.
I was expecting like an ad for Mountain Dew or fucking like In and Out, something to happen. Some of these stupid American ads, like why they follow him all the way down the tunnel? It's like the longest walk I've ever seen. And then he's got a long walk. He hadn't got to dressing. Let's go to the medical center across the road. It's like, that would be so shit. But you can send off and have to walk across the road in your boots to the medical center.
Clopping down the road. Rudiger's head just going around here. I bet you won't elbow me.
Oh God! An honourable mention, I think, for not an honourable mention, fucking man of the match performance by N'Golo Kante.
Rolled back the years,
unbelievable.
To 2017.
Again, he's not one of these players to come out and say, a big long press conference how he's not finished, how he's going to still fight for his place in Chelsea. He's just going to do it. Like people wrote him off. He didn't say anything. Chelsea are bad. They went, oh, that must be because Kante's past this. Chelsea have found a bit of form, and Kante is right there again, like doing what he's always did. Like I saw a thing saying, he's ever on the pitch. Like he's not. He just reads the game really well. He's exactly where he needs to be all the time. He always has great stamina, and he can go all day. And like that run he made for the last goal was unbelievable. Like the stamina and the speed to get up that pitch at the end. But like, I was thinking, like Koke has been so good for them for so long, and like. The reason that they've been competitive, I think Koke is a huge part of that. Obviously, Simeone's been there all the time too. But like when you have a kind of a team that upsets teams like Leicester or like Southampton, what always happens is they lose their players. And like you look at United, you look at Arsenal, like they'd be crying out for a player like Koke for years. Like to get a centre midfielder that good to just stay at your club to help you build a base to be competitive, like it never happens. They always go. I remember a couple of years ago. Not a couple years ago now, like 6 years ago, he was heavily linked to Barcelona and he was like, nah, no interest. I let it go to my club. And like, you never hear him linked, probably because he told his manager, don't be sending out stories about me. I want to say let it go. And like, he is so good for them for so long, and Kante just ran rings around him. You know what I mean? So it was an unbelievable performance by Kante.
Unreal. Did you see what Tuchel said after the game by Kante? He said, it's like playing with 11 and a half men on the pitch.
I remember the Leicester owner said something, God rest him, said something similar to that. He said, when we play with Kante, we play with three in the middle. We play with Kante, drink water, and Kante again. Like that's what people think. Like he is that unbelievable engine in the middle. Very like Claude McLeary back in the day. I only saw him at Chelsea now towards the end of his career, but he was similar, kind of like read the ball really well, great engine on him. Really good player for them. Chelsea, like I say, are they good or are they go bad? Is Tuchel the best manager in the Premier League right now? What's going on?
It's so hard. It's impossible to tell because it feels like you watch the Chelsea game, nothing happens, but they win comfortably, and you're like, what? What happened?
Yeah.
It's just they just breeze through games like.
Because I thought this would be a really big test for them because like. The Premier League, it's tough to tell these days. Like, there's been some crazy results you know, it's hard to tell when you're playing Villa and Leeds, like, because it's not away games. They're all just like, you know, empty stadiums. So this was like the first real test where you think, all right, this is a really good team, really well-drilled team. If you can beat them comfortably, you know, you might be the real deal. And they did, to be fair. Again, our boy Timo had a great game. Probably his best game in Chelsea colours, I would say.
The birthday boy.
Yeah.
He had a great game. He got a good assist. He didn't score them, but that'll come.
I saw a tweet. It was like, that goal was straight out of a Chelsea fans preseason WhatsApp group. It was Havertz to Werner to Ziyech, goal. Like, your three signings link up for the goal. It just never happens. Like, but you always imagine it. Oh, we signed him, and him. Oh, we'd have the best attack in the world. And like, that's exactly what happened. Like, it was an unbelievable breakaway goal. Yeah, like I said, team was not scoring. Still very Torres like, in that he's, you know, working really hard and creating lots of assists, but you'd want him to start banging a few goals for his own sake.
Yeah, especially at Chelsea, they're not gonna hang around and wait for you. Sure, did you see he's been linked with a swap deal for Haaland, as if swap deals ever happen?
Yeah, no, they never happen because they can never agree on the way.
It's so complicated. There's so many people involved, like an agents and then sponsors, and it's not happening. It's stuff of FIFA. Yeah,
well, especially when it's agents are involved. So it's like, okay, well, do I get 10% of Haaland's wages? Yeah. Where's my money? You know what I mean? Like, I'm making the deals. I'm not going to make the deal I don't get 10% of. So I want a big transfer fee. I know, like, they spent, what, 200 million last summer? And of all these players coming in, and they're just trying to make it work. To bring in another player like Haaland, I don't think they really need it. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's just getting him because he's there, which is what you should do. You should go for players like that. But yeah, I don't think that's what Chelsea need, really.
No, I'd be focusing more on probably centre backs if I was Chelsea. You think of Pulisic and Mount who weren't playing. Like, Pulisic came on and made that last goal. You know, they have loads of attacking players. I did see Ziyech obviously scored the goal, and I did think it reminded me of when Robin was at Chelsea. It's like undoubted ability, but like just doesn't seem like a player who's going to thrive not playing all the time. Like, when he got taken off, he was like, "Oh, again, man." Like, I scored and everything. It's like, you have to get used to it at Chelsea. Like, you're not going to play every game. But like Pulisic, Mount, Hudson-Odoi, all these players, like, I feel he's going to have a decent, maybe 2 seasons or a season at Chelsea, and then he's going to move on and he's going to be really successful somewhere else. I mean, I just don't see him being at Chelsea for the next, 6-7 years for Ziyech, as good as he is.
What about Thiago Silva? Watching the game, like, I don't know, like someone watching a horse at Cheltenham. He was so into it.
He was really into it. It goes back to our thing of, why would these players care about a club they're at 6 months? But
he really cares by the looks of it.
And so does Mason Mount, so does Jorginho. They all ran.
Mason Mount, I get, like, he's an academy player, so it's ingrained in him. Like,
I guess so, yeah.
But Thiago's only there a few months, and he's screaming. Like, I don't think he sat down all game.
Yeah, he was kicking every ball, as they say. And like I said, he was on his own for the whole game. I guess social distancing, jumping up and down. Like, I don't know, it was his groin injury. He had a very wide stance the entire game. He didn't have much leg. And in the end, he was like hopping up the steps. He wasn't moving much. But then Mount and Jorginho came running towards him with their masks down under their nose, hugging and like shouting in their face. Like, well, what's the point of the last 90 minutes, lads? If you're just going to do that, I mean,
put them in the dugout if you're going to be doing that.
You may as well. Like, yeah, it was a good moment for them to see that, see Chelsea go through. Atletico, I think, were some people's dark horse. I guess Chelsea have replaced them as a dark horse now, have they?
Yeah, I've seen some talk of Chelsea winning it. Do you think they could?
I think they would need a team or start scoring goals consistently for them to win the Champions League. Like, you don't get many chances in the semi-final, final. Like, you need someone who's going to just, when you get a chance, put it away. I don't think they have that. I think they have everything else. I think they have all the attacking talent and they have good midfield. And like, the defense seems solid so far, but you need some of that killer instinct, I suppose.
You imagine our boy coming on and scoring the winner in the final after the season he's had.
Yeah, I think for him, he'd rather score in every game up to it.
Yeah.
And assist the goal. I think he'd rather consistency than one goal here, one goal there, because Like, say, if he doesn't, you're looking at Haaland, who is scoring consistently, and then you're out. And that's Chelsea. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I was so surprised to see the boys like jumping up for joy. It's like, like they don't care about you. They don't care about you.
Not jumping up for you, man.
So, maybe it's nice just to believe in something.
Abramovich was looking at that, and he was like, "Who are the fans?"
Yeah, he's no idea there.
No fans.
But yeah, I know they were good. When is the draw? I think the draw's like 11 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
You got Chelsea, Bayern, Real Madrid, Man City, and then Liverpool, Dortmund, PSG, and Porto. The Europa League, which was also on tonight, Thursday, we're fresh off some hot Europa League action.
Surprisingly hot Europa League action.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence about like, will we stay? What's Europa League? I mean, Arsenal and United are playing, but I mean, they're usually fucking dire games, you know, because it's just usually distraction for teams. Like at this stage of the season, you're kind of on the fence of, should we push for top 4 or should we try and win the Europa League? Like, what's a more realistic goal? Win the entire competition or just get above 3 places in the league? So that's where we were at. Arsenal were playing Olympiacos. They were 3-1 up in the first leg, so it was guaranteed to be a dire game. Arsenal brought their trademark, I don't know, gusto in Europa League games.
Eye of the Tiger.
Pep and Zip, Eye of the Tiger, all that good stuff. They were just really not at it. And of course, they conceded a goal. So they brought on, I think, Odegaard, Partey to try and steady the ship. And they did, because Olympiacos were terrible. But like Aubameyang, do you think this is the game? He has a big response and he's like, you know what, guys, sorry about that. Did not seem interested. He was so slow, so ponderous.
Seemed like he was like, well, fuck this place.
Yeah, a big kind of like, you know, fuck them. Like,
yeah, sure, if they don't need me, then I'll fucking leave. Yeah,
I'll fucking leave then. And then, I mean, looking around, I would say I get that too. I mean, the club intent is saying you're dropped. You're like, oh man, look how far I've fallen. Remember, I was the best striker in Europe one stage. But he was playing like that. He was playing like he didn't care. He had a great chance there, 1-on-1. He was released. You could tell he was going to chip it over the keeper, and the keeper like standing to the last minute, going, "I know what you want to do. If you want to chip it over me, you got to chip it over me standing up. I'm not going to go down for you." He decided to do that anyways, and he kicked about a fucking yard wide. And there's a bit after that, Tierney was going on the left wing, and he stopped and he pointed, say, "Run that way, Aubameyang." And then Aubameyang went, don't really want to. And then he kind of stuttered and stopped, and then he like kind of dummied Tierney to kick the ball, so he didn't have to run. And Tierney's like, "What the fuck? I told you." And he's like, "What? Oh, I didn't know. And it's like, what is he doing? Like, he should be furious at his drop. Should be trying to, you know, against Olympiacos. That's when you score your hat, you can say, "I'm back." But no, he looked like a man who, our prediction of him losing the captaincy and leaving the club, I think it could be on the way.
He's on such big wages, though. Who's going to pay for him?
Yeah, but I know maybe he'll force a move out. Who knows?
Yeah.
But they got through that. They got through 3-2 on Agris. So I don't know how much further Arsenal go. They looked poor. But there was a better game on at the same time. Not better for entertainment because I didn't watch it, but Spurs went up into that tie, 2-0 up. What can I say? They Spurs it up. They got real spurry about it.
That is the biggest Spurs I've ever seen, I think. That's worse than any bottling of the league. Because this is just like, there's no way you can lose.
They have precedent for this, though. When they lose to Arsenal, especially when Arsenal are going bad, they could be fine when like 5 games to bounce. They go to Arsenal and they lose a game. It's like, how do they manage that? And, you know, the next 5 games just go on a run of like bottling this, but like it just scars them. Like to lose the London Derby, it seems to be a huge thing for them. For anybody who doesn't know now, they lost 3-0, a hat-trick from some Dynamo Zagreb person who I don't even know off the top of my head. I saw they're the 19th rated league in Europe. Well, that's where they come from.
And they're not top, I believe.
They have their own struggles at home. They lost 3-0. They go out 3-2 in aggregate. Jose with a very somber interview after the game. I think it's one of those things you have to see for yourself. It's an 8-minute interview. I only asked my 2 questions. He just went on and on about my players, and how the best team won, but his team had the wrong attitude. So a kind of a more cryptic way of throwing his players on the bus, but he still managed it, which I like to see.
He's a pro at that, to be honest.
He just messed that up.
He's in charge of the attitude, isn't he?
Probably the one thing that probably falls at his door. If the players are good enough, the attitude is wrong. But he said, like, look, maybe the players didn't think this game was important. I thought it was important, that's for sure. I think every game was important. I'm a professional.
I don't know about the rest of them, but that's just me. Maybe I'm different.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure you'll find that on Twitter. Worth the watch, I would say. But yeah, it's bad for Tottenham, man.
We haven't even talked about the manager he lost to.
Oh, fuck, yeah. I mean, I know the story you may or may not have seen. The Dynamo Zagreb manager stepped down yesterday, the day before the game. He was embroiled, I think is a good word, I like that word, embroiled in a fraud case where he had been accused of siphoning off £13 million in player transfers over years and years. I think they had Luka Modric and Dejan Lovren had to testify in court about it. So that's how far it goes back. He's still a manager to this day, which was amazing to me that he didn't resign out of just embarrassment or whatever. He was sentenced to 4 years for fraud in prison, so he naturally resigned. So they didn't have a manager. Their manager was in prison as they played this game.
I loved it. I saw a few things of like stock photos of like the hand on the visitor's glass in a prison. It's like Jose just lost to a man who gave us team talk like this.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that kind of can unite a team. That kind of a bad spell can really band the guys together. But he seems guilty. That's the thing. Like, if he was wrongly accused, that might band together. But if he was, getting kickbacks of £13 million, that's no small amount. Like, it was him and the brother. The brother is still at large, by the way. So if you see a man in Bosnia,
text us.
let the authorities know. Mamish's brother is a Vadkro. He's still at large in Bosnia. If you're in the area, be careful. He might, steal the eyes out of your head. So yeah, it's you lose a cup game to say they lost to AC Milan tonight. That still would have been bad, but lose to the Croatian champions or the Croatian team, anyways, with the manager who's done for fraud, a club in seemingly turmoil, but not as much as you because you lost to Arsenal at the weekend. I mean, it's a bad look for Spurs.
Yeah,
it's a bad look for Jose. Really, I saw. And like we were saying on the last episode about players leaving, Peter Crouch was saying Harry Kane's too big for Europa League. He shouldn't be in that competition. He's got to leave, And this is a former Spurs man saying this. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like it could all be falling apart for Spurs. It's not good. But as much as he's like putting the boot in Jose, and I think these players probably have something to answer for too.
Yeah, because, I mean, Poch was good as well. Like, yeah, Poch was great. And like Poch got them to Champions League. Poch did everything for them, it seemed. He was really good. He brought half the players up, like made a lot of them.
But they stopped playing for him too.
Yeah, so that's not good. It's like United were a few years ago. It's like United were a few years ago. Not a few years ago, before Ollie, where so many people just said, fuck it. There's the quote from where Ollie said he'd rather have holes in his team than assholes.
Well, let's look at United then. Let's talk about United. They were playing AC Milan tonight. That was a much better game. And I was saying to you, I wasn't sure watching this because I just watched the dire Arsenal game where they lost. I was like, I don't know, another Europa League game. But it was a good game. It was a much quicker game.
It didn't feel like, because United scored at the start of the second half, but it didn't feel like they were going to win. So it was great to watch. It really felt like any second now, this is gonna fuck it up. Yeah, well, it was definitely, again, for Arsenal and Spurs, there probably was a bit of complacency, thinking, oh yeah, we're playing a weaker team here. We don't need to win this game, just as long as we don't lose by too much. Or
Whereas United came in, they needed to score. It was 1-1, so on away goals, AC Milan had the upper hand.
That away goal probably the best thing that could have happened to United today. Because I think if it was they go in 1-0, they sit back, concede straight away, and then they're like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, it's a similar thing, like again, we're trying to get off it, but like if you look at the Spurs and Arsenal, for them, the ideal situation was we go in, we don't break a sweat, no one gets injured, we can concentrate on the 65 more league games you have to play. And unfortunately for Spurs, they were on the wrong side of that, and they didn't try enough, and they lost. United were in the position where they had to win this. They get knocked out Europa League. I mean, for United to finish second, I think they have the cups. Might be in the FA Cup.
The FA Cup at the weekend.
You're banking on winning the FA Cup as your only thing this year. It's just like it's not enough really. So they would want to win the Europa League and the FA Cup at least for Ollie to get a pass this season, I think. So they really had to win this game. They came out with the same kind of idea of like, we need to score, we need to kind of get an early goal here and settle down and knock them off their stride. Noah's Zlatan starting for them, which they really looked like they missed him up front in the first half.
Sure, as soon as he came on, he got a good chance.
Yeah, he that was probably the chance that they look back on as that could have made things a lot different. But Pogba was the difference for United when he came on. He looked really, really good, to be fair to him, as much as he gets abuse.
He was so strong as that. Like, he was just bullying everyone whenever he got the ball.
And there's a school of thought that would say, why doesn't he do that every game? And like, not even that, this wasn't an under-19 team. Like, it's still AC Milan, it's still like a top Italian team. Like, he does have that capacity to impose himself on a game and play that bully ball and just get amongst players, and then the quality to score as well. Like, when you come for a world record fee, like, that's what people expect. Like, if you're going to come in and break the bank, we want you to come in and change the team on your own. Like, can you imagine if Bruno Fernandes was the size that Pogba is?
He'd score 10 million goals.
You know what I mean? Like Pogba should be doing the same thing. He has the same quality. He should be putting his physicality about and saying, I'm going to drag this team. Like Roy Keane, similarly, he's only about maybe 5'10", 5'9". If he was Pogba's size, you know what I mean? That's why you look at Pogba and you go, you're not trying hard enough, because there's men who are smaller than you have done more. So like, it was great to see him do that. But
if Keane was Pogba's size, he would have killed Haaland's dad stone dead.
Yeah, that would be much more chest height kick rather than knee. But he would have been Patrick Vieira, basically. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, that's what people wanted Pogba to be. They wanted him to be Patrick Vieira, just bullying lads, scoring goals, battering two people. But like, he doesn't do that enough. But I mean, he did tonight, and that's why they won. The United had good performance, to be fair. I will say, for AC Milan, your man, I don't want to butcher his name, Calahounia or Cal.
I know the dude. Surely the listeners know. So Cal.
He used to be at the German side, Bayer Leverkusen, and he got bought to AC Milan. Turkish international, missed a few chances. I mean, you keep playing at that, Halil Ekbenhar's coming for your spot in the Turkish national team. Your days are numbered, pal. If you want to play like that, Halil would have, like, that chance. It's like Luke Shaw back of the head, and it fell to Kalugina. Can you imagine Halil? Can you imagine if Halil was Pogba size? He'd be killing it. He'd be scoring 100 goals. That's just our metric now. Can you imagine if he was Pogba size? It's like, what? He's a goalie. Just taller than him. Yeah, that was the only thing, because I do have a kind of a side eye on any Turkish players who are playing. I'm like, Halil's better than you. Halil's a lot better than you, pal.
Halil scored like 4 in his last 5, mate. What have you done?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the other thing. Like, it's not an AC Milan team of Instagram fame. Those ones where they're like, this AC Milan team, and it's like the fucking cum emoji. It's like Crespo and fucking Maldini and all those boys. Like, it's not that team. Like, you've got 39-year-old Zlatan, who they still rely on. Yeah. They're a long way off their best.
It is the best Milan team in a long time, but I think that speaks more to how bad Milan have been than anything else. Like,
well, the Milan are coming, but same as United probably. Yeah. Like, they're both like former, like, that should have been Champions League clash, but they're two teams who are playing the best they've played in probably 10 years, or maybe 7 or 8 years probably. Both second place in the league. You'd wonder where they'll be in the next 5 or 6 years. But for United, Do you think they could go on and win it? Who's left in this? That's anyways.
I think if they get Arsenal, I don't know, because United can't beat Arsenal. They just can't do it. It's been years, it feels like.
I think it's probably 50-50. I think it's just like Arsenal win a lot more times when they shouldn't. That's the only thing that stands out. Like, how did they fucking lose to Arsenal? But like, when there's often times where it's like, yeah, they're both going okay, and United will win most of the time.
Mm. That'd be a good final. That'd be a good for the pod.
Oh, well, we wouldn't speak. We have to get a third host to say, well, tell Will, I think Pogba is the most over player in the league.
Well, tell Cahill, if I was Pogba's height, I'd kick his head in.
Well, tell Will, I'd love to see him try. Just your man's logged off and his camera's not even there, just sort of talking to ourselves in that third person way. Yes, that was the European action. The draw, like I say, is tomorrow at 11, or by the time you listen to this, it'll already have happened. Was there anything else that you want to touch on, Will?
No, I think that does it for a very European heavy week. And there's not much games this weekend, so I'm not sure what way this will go.
We're leading into some World Cup qualifiers in the international break next week, is it?
Yeah, next week. There's FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah, there's FA Cup this weekend. Of course, there's Premier League games because there's always Premier League games. Don't be silly. Of course, there's Premier League games. Even when there isn't, there is.
We couldn't possibly let a week go by.
No, you're crazy. You're insane.
Aston Villa must play.
There's like 4 Premier League games going on. There's FA Cup. There's international in next week. I'm not sure when the next episode will be out. I suppose we could do it again on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how we do the international games. Perhaps the Pelé documentary. We'll see. There mightn't be time.
Look, we were going to do it again today, but it's just
Well, we were going to do Champions League and then the Pelé documentary, and then the Europa League happened, so we just missed out on Pelé again.
It's close.
Look, I know everybody has seen it. Everybody's talking about this, and they're dying to hear our take on it. It's not just us who've seen this documentary. Everyone has seen it. Everyone's talking about it.
Everyone is non-stop talking about the Pelé documentary, which I think was called Pelé. I'm not too sure.
When I go to Lidl, that's all I hear people talking about. Like, and they're asking me for my opinion on the Pelé. And what about part 2? I'm like, listen, listen to the pod. I said, listen to the podcast. You know where to find us. It's at No Nonsense Pod on Twitter. It's no_nonsense_pod on Instagram. You'll find clips there. You'll find us all there. All the details of where listeners, they'll all be there. That's where we'll be talking about the Pelé documentary. That's what I'm telling people.
And then I tell them, and could you imagine if Pelé was Pogba's side?
Yeah. Picture this.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?